So let's just talk really quick about needle selection. Some people get really confused about like what a 0.25 is, a 0.20 is, a 0.18 is. So let me just explain this to you. The first number that you read is going to be like a number 12, a number 18, a number 14. The second letter that you read, it'll have a 0 point something. So the first number is how many needles are actually in the configuration. So a 14 has 14 needles, a 16 has 16 needles, an 18 has 18 needles. If it says it's a flex, it has a little bit of flex when you're going through the skin. That's personally my favorite type. If it says it's a U shape, it's a U shape. So it could have 18 needles, but in a U shape. You guys all know I don't love a U shape. This one right here, this is a 14 flex, but it's a 0.18. So it's a really tiny, tiny, tiny needle. This one, this is a 12, which means there's 12 needles, but it's a 0.25. So it's a little bit of a thicker hair stroke. This one here, this is an 11. There's 11 needles, but it's a 0.20. So it's kind of in between my two thicknesses. So let me explain this to you. A 0.25, no matter how many needles it says, if it's 16 needles, 12 needles, 18 needles, the 0.25, that's the actual thickness of our hair stroke. So 0.25, it's gonna be a little bit thicker of a hair stroke. Still thin, it's still one I use all the time, but it's a thicker needle. A 0.20 is going to be in between, it's like a medium. So thinner than my 0.25, but not quite as thin, is a 0.18. A 0.18 is going to be your thinnest hair stroke, right? So if I'm working on somebody with really thin hair or thin skin, I'm probably going to choose my 0.18. If I'm working on somebody who's got really coarse, thick hair, thick skin, I'm probably going to choose my 0.25. If I'm just working on somebody who's got a normal amount, I'll probably choose my 0.20, right? So those are the different selections. Right now, there's also a thinner hair stroke out. It's a 0.16. Personally, I don't like it. I feel like it's too thin. I can't even see the hair stroke. And I kind of feel like the needles are bendy. So my favorite one when it comes to thinness is a 0.18. Doesn't matter what. This is a 14.18. It could be a 16.18. It could be an 18.18. That's just how many needles are in it. The 0.18 is the actual thickness of our stroke. Do I use different needles during my procedure? All the time. Sometimes I'll do a thicker hair stroke and then a little thin one right by it, and then a thicker hair stroke and then a thin one right by it. Does that mean that I'm giving you 60 brows and I should be able to charge more money? Absolutely not. 60, 3D, 2D, 8D, microblading, eyebrow embroidery, hair stroke, feather stroke. It's all just a name for a hair stroke brow. Nano needle, all these different names that are kind of trending around right now, they're all just names for what we're creating, which is a hair stroke brow. It's just fancy marketing.